You know, nobody really talks about this thing. Sure, they teach you how to hold a conversation, how to impress others, how to persuade them, and how to be liked, but they never mention the most dangerous skill of all, learning to stop caring about others' approval. Once you truly let go of that need, something quite unsettling happens. You become untouchable. You can't be manipulated, humiliated, or baited. Niccolo Machiavelli believed that this state isn't a weakness, it's power. The ruthless get something that most people just don't grasp. Attention is a form of currency. Reaction signals submission, while silence demonstrates strength. When you pull back your emotional investment, it doesn't leave you empty. Instead, you become elusive. Those who used to overlook you suddenly start to take notice. Those who once had control over you begin to fear you. Those who showed you disrespect might change their tune, not because you raised your voice or demanded respect, but simply because you stopped justifying yourself. 500 years ago, Machiavelli understood something that many modern men still can't accept. The prince who pursues is the one who kneels. The prince who explains is the one who bleeds. And the prince who retreats is the one who reigns. This video unpacks Machiavelli's deepest psychological weapon, the ability to ignore people so completely that they start to orbit around your absence. Pay close attention, because once you get this down, you'll never have to beg for attention again. Machiavelli didn't focus on morality. His interest was outcomes. He didn't ponder over what should occur. Instead, he observed what invariably does occur, and one clear pattern emerged across kings, generals, popes, and princes. The one who needs less is the one who controls more. Most of us grow up thinking that power comes from hard work, trying harder, caring more, showing more, and explaining ourselves. Machiavelli discovered the opposite. The more desperately you reach out, the weaker your position grows, because need creates dependence, and dependence creates hierarchy. Every time you chase someone's attention, you place them above you. Every time you seek validation, you admit inferiority. Every time you justify yourself, you imply guilt. This isn't just poetic, it's structural. People subconsciously rank each other based on emotional independence, not kindness, not intelligence, not talent, but emotional self-sufficiency. Those who can walk away have the leverage. Those who cannot are already owned. Machiavelli saw that rulers who constantly reacted became mere toys, controlled by public opinion, gossip, insults, and praise. Their moods were dictated by the crowd, and a man ruled by the crowd isn't a ruler, he's a servant. Ignoring someone is a first act of defiance, not against them, but against emotional slavery. Most think of ignoring as passive. Machiavelli recognized it as an act of power. When you reply to an insult, you validate its source. When someone provokes you and you react, you elevate their status. When someone disrespects you and you argue back, you're giving them a stage. Silence takes away that stage. No stage means no performance, and no performance means no power. That's why Machiavelli respected withdrawal. It creates an imbalance. One side is invested while the other is not, and that's where power resides. Look at your life right now. Who drains you? Who triggers you? Who occupies your thoughts? Those people hold power over you, not because they are strong, but because you form an attachment to them. Machiavelli would argue, if someone can disturb your inner peace, they control you. Ignoring severs that control, not by pretending to be indifferent, but through genuine detachment. And that detachment starts with a harsh realization. Most people aren't thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves. Their insults are just confessions. Their judgments reflect their own insecurities. Their cruelty? It's just a leak. Once you really digest this, your defensiveness crumbles. You stop correcting others. You stop justifying your actions. You stop auditioning for their understanding. You don't need your self-image validated through the eyes of others anymore. This is what it means to reach psychological adulthood. Children ask, "Do you like me?" Adults query, "Do I respect myself?" Machiavelli didn't base his philosophy on goodness but on self-control. And self-control demands silence, not because silence is magical, but because it maintains agency. Every word you utter gives away something. Every reaction shows preference. Every explanation exposes your inner workings. The less others know about what's going on inside you, the harder you are to manipulate. Opacity is a form of protection. It's an advantage. This is why influential figures throughout history cultivated an air of mystery, not for show, but as a defense mechanism. If people can't read you, they can't steer you. If they can't predict your moves, they can't trap you. Ignoring creates a psychological fog where others hesitate, and inside that hesitation, you can move freely. There's also a darker side to this. A lot of people derive their identity from resistance. They feel alive when they oppose something. When you deny them that opposition, you take away their sense of self. They feel invisible, and that invisibility is intolerable to the ego. So they double down, pushing harder and trying new tactics. And you just stay still. Eventually, they'll tire themselves out. This isn't about kindness or cruelty. It's simply physics. Fire needs oxygen, and drama thrives on reaction. Remove that fuel, and the whole system collapses. Machiavelli never chased after respect. He structured his behavior so that respect naturally followed. Ignoring his structural architecture in every interaction, shifting from accessible to distant, from reactive to composed, from available to selective. Selective attention is a true fingerprint of power. You can't control how others behave, but you can control what you feed. Starve disrespect. Starve manipulation. Starve entitlement. Only feed what aligns with your standards. That's a foundation, not about dominating others, but about controlling access. Many think money rules the world, but Machiavelli understood better. Money follows power, power follows perception, and perception follows attention. Where attention goes, energy flows. Where energy flows, hierarchy forms. People are always subconsciously deciding who matters, who doesn't, who holds value, and who doesn't. They base these judgments on one key signal: who controls their attention and who is desperate for it. The one who seeks attention places themselves beneath the one who receives it, while the one who withholds attention stands above the one who craves it. This dynamic exists everywhere, among friends, in relationships, within families, workplaces, and social media. Machiavelli recognized this long before modern algorithms were a thing. He saw that rulers who were too available lost their prestige, while those who were harder to reach became legendary. Scarcity isn't about cruelty, it's about structure. If something is always accessible, it becomes invisible. But if it's rare, it becomes significant. When you respond too fast, you teach people that you're constantly on standby. When you over-explain, you show that you seek affirmation. When you're always the one reaching out, you imply that you fear losing access. Fear diminishes status, while calm elevates it. And this isn't just an opinion, it's simply how humans operate. If you observe how people treat those who respond quickly versus those who are selective, the difference is striking. One is taken for granted, while the other is respected. Why? Because the selective one signals, I have my own life, my own priorities. I'm not orbiting around you. Orbiting behavior is submissive, and Machiavelli despised submission disguised as kindness. He viewed it as self-betrayal. True power begins when you stop offering your emotional labor for free. You stop being the therapist, the validator, the rescuer, and instead, you become the one who chooses. Choosing is power. Most people allow others to choose for them, deciding who gets their time, their energy, and their mental space. That's unconscious slavery. Ignoring is a conscious reclamation of your bandwidth, your nervous system, and your identity. Initially, people will resist because they benefited from your availability, feeding off your reactions. They get comfortable with a system where you're predictable, but predictability is exploitable. Machiavelli cautioned against being easily readable. When others can anticipate your emotional responses, they can control outcomes. They say A, you react with B, and they get C. Ignoring disrupts this equation. They can say whatever, and you stay silent. System error. They'll now have to guess. Guessing generates anxiety. Anxiety weakens your stance. This is why emotional unpredictability can be intimidating, not chaos or volatility, but calm unpredictability. You're present yet not approachable, visible but not available. This combo can unsettle others because it suggests you aren't lonely, starving, or dependent. And that's what insecure individuals dread the most. Another tough pill to swallow. People cherish what they earn, not what's handed to them. If your attention is given freely, it's worthless, but if it's conditional, it gains weight. Conditions aren't ultimatums. They are standards you hold within yourself. You don't have to announce them. You just live by them. If someone disrespects you, access is reduced. If someone behaves well, access remains. Simple as that. No grand speeches, no warnings, no emotional displays. Machiavelli preferred systems over speeches, since systems can scale while speeches fade. That's why ignoring works in the long run. It trains people without confrontation, quietly, steadily, and inevitably. You're not trying to control anyone. You're controlling how you respond. What you invest in grows. Feed the drama, and you get chaos. Feed manipulation, and you'll attract parasites. Feed respect, and you'll cultivate alignment. Most people seek to negotiate respect, but it can't be negotiated. It emerges from your stance. Your position is dictated by your behavior, and that behavior arises from your standards. Ignoring is a standard, one that signals your attention isn't cheap, your time isn't free, and your presence isn't guaranteed. This sends a quiet yet powerful message of self-worth, not loud confidence, but a calm sense of value. Machiavelli understood that loud people tend to advertise their power, while the truly powerful allow others to speculate about them through whispers and intrigue. Ignoring opens space for rumors. Rumors create a mystique that builds authority. You don't need to proclaim your significance. Just let your absence speak. Many think that ignoring someone is about punishment. Machiavelli saw it differently. Ignoring isn't a punishment. It's exposure. When you take away your reactions, you eliminate the emotional feedback loop that many rely on to regulate themselves. Most people don't develop their identity internally. They pull it from external sources. They feel real when they are acknowledged, significant when they provoke, and powerful when they influence. When you give nothing, they lose their reflective surface. And someone without a mirror starts to fracture. Silence creates an emotional vacuum, and the mind abhors vacuums. It rushes to fill them with projections, assumptions, and imagined narratives. They begin to wonder, did I offend them? Are they angry? Do they view me as inferior? Did I lose status? They create a courtroom in their minds, all while you've done absolutely nothing. They are the ones chasing themselves. This is psychological judo, using their momentum against them. Machiavelli admired indirect victories. Why fight when gravity does all the work? There's another layer to consider. Silence prompts self-revelation. When people don't get a response, they escalate, trying humor, aggression, guilt, charm, or intimidation. Each attempt reveals their true motives. You find out exactly who they are without needing to interrogate them. The manipulator exposes their own tricks. The insecure reveal their vulnerabilities. The narcissist makes their hunger apparent. And the bully unveils their fragility. Meanwhile, you disclose nothing. This information gap creates an imbalance of power. They expose while you remain guarded. That's the essence of Machiavelli's teachings. Information asymmetry equals power. He valued secrecy not from paranoia, but because knowledge is leverage. If others can't grasp your thoughts, they can't anticipate your actions. If they can't predict your moves, trapping you becomes difficult. Silence isn't emptiness, it's encryption. Another effect of ignoring is that it dismantles power plays. Power dynamics require participation. Dominance contests need acknowledgement. Ego battles hinge on witnesses. When you don't engage, the arena vanishes. There's no contest, no victor, no loser, just someone swinging at nothing. And nobody likes looking foolish, so they either stop or become reckless. Both scenarios benefit you. If they cease, you find peace. If they escalate, they self-disqualify socially. Others will start to see their instability, while you retain your calmness, gaining contrast, and contrast breeds status. Machiavelli understood that reputation is shaped by comparison. You don't need to seem great. You just need others to appear worse next to you. Silence permits this because unstable individuals will eventually reveal themselves. Your stillness becomes a spotlight. Another uncomfortable truth. People unconsciously test boundaries. Through pressure, they push. They observe and adjust. If you argue, they push harder. If you explain, they go deeper. But when you go silent, they hit a wall. Walls change behavior far more than debates. Ignoring forms a wall, not one made of contempt or anger, but made of absence. Absence communicates. This behavior doesn't reach me. No speech could express that more clearly. Over time, people either respect your boundaries or they leave. In either case, you come out ahead. Machiavelli didn't strive to convert enemies. He simply outlasted them, outmaneuvered them, and allowed them to decay. Silence is decay for those who thrive on chaos, so you starve them of reaction, and they wither. Meanwhile, a transformation occurs within you. Your nervous system resets. You cease bracing for hits, anticipating conflict, or rehearsing comebacks. Your mind quiets, not weak, not numb, just clear. Clarity is power. You start choosing your responses instead of merely reacting. That's true sovereignty. Most people exist as bundles of reflexes. Machiavelli held a deep respect for sovereign minds. Most people spend their lives yearning to be understood, but Machiavelli thought of this as a trap. The minute you become fully legible, you become manageable. If others learn what makes you tick, they can bait you. If they figure out what scares you, they can threaten you. If they know what hurts you, they can inflict pain. Readability is vulnerability. That's why Machiavelli admired rulers who revealed little, not because they were mysterious for the sake of it, but as a strategic maneuver. Opacity creates friction, and friction slows manipulation. Friction forces hesitation, and hesitation gives you breathing room. Ignoring is one of the quickest routes to attaining unreadability. When you stop reacting, others lose their vital data. There are no facial expressions, no verbal cues, no emotional fluctuations. Their predictive model of you falls apart. They can't tell if you're happy or offended, if you care at all. This uncertainty disrupts power structures, and most social systems rely on predictability. People who are predictable can be controlled. Unpredictable individuals must be respected. Not feared, not loved, just respected, because respect is given to those who can't be influenced easily. Machiavelli recognized this distinction. Love is fragile, fear is unstable, but respect is solid. Ignoring builds respect because it conveys, I operate by my own values. This internal law is terrifying to those who depend on external validation. Many people adjust themselves constantly, shape-shifting to fit various environments, altering their personalities to gain approval, trading authenticity for acceptance. Machiavelli viewed such behavior as a sign of weakness. A person without a solid center can easily be swayed. Ignoring compels you to establish a center. You stop scanning the room. You stop recalibrating your actions. You stop performing. Instead, you act based on guiding principles, not impulses and not reactions to the audience. Principles foster consistency, and consistency shapes identity. Identity builds gravity. People gravitate toward grounded individuals. They might not comprehend you, but they sense that steadiness. A further change occurs. You stop narrating your inner world. Most people leak their thoughts continuously. They announce feelings, broadcast struggles, overshare plans, and seek reassurance before taking action. Such transparency feels virtuous, but strategically, it's a form of exposure. Machiavelli leaned towards selective disclosure, sharing only what's necessary and keeping everything else to yourself. Silence acts as a filter. Only essential words make it out, compressing your presence. You create less noise but hold more weight, like a black hole, unseen yet impactful. People start projecting competence onto you, depth, strength, irrespective of how much you actually say, simply because humans associate quietness with contemplation and contemplation with power. Perception morphs into reality. Opportunities start gravitating toward you instead of you chasing after them. You receive invitations, offers, and curiosity. People take the initiative not because you pursued them, but because you cease to pursue. Machiavelli noticed that power builds where movement is minimal. The calmer the ruler, the more stable the throne seems. Your emotional steadiness becomes a throne, felt by others even if they can't articulate it. Another layer to this transformation is that your standards begin to mold those around you, not by lecturing, but through contrast. They pick up on things. You don't tolerate certain tones. You don't indulge certain behaviors. You don't linger in particular conversations. They either adapt or they drift away. No proclamations, no ultimatums, just natural selection. Eventually, something profound happens. You stop overthinking about ignoring, about detachment, about power. Power becomes a byproduct of who you are. Machiavelli might say it's like a ruler who no longer focuses on domination because it has become second nature. You no longer question, should I respond? Should I explain? Should I correct this? Those questions fade away. Your inner self knows the answer. Most of the time, the answer is silence, not because silence is trendy, but because it upholds your self-respect. Your self-respect morphs into your most valuable currency, more prized than seeking approval, more significant than belonging, more essential than understanding. Once self-respect becomes non-negotiable, external affirmation turns into an option. Optional things can't control you. That's the essence of being untouchable. Nothing outside of you is essential for your emotional stability. No texts, no compliments, no apologies, no recognition, no attention. You source it all internally. This state is rare, and rarity always embodies power. As you shift further, you begin to stop labeling people as enemies or allies. You start viewing them as variables. Some align with you, and some don't. There's no moral drama, no emotional theater, just patterns. Machiavelli operated from pattern recognition, not personal feelings. Sentiment clouds judgment, while patterns sharpen it. You also stop romanticizing your struggles, stop telling yourself stories about pain, and stop identifying with suffering. Pain transforms into data, feedback, not identity. Identity is chosen, not inherited from trauma. That's growth. Most individuals remain loyal to the past. You remain loyal to the future, which causes you to act differently. You safeguard your energy, time, focus, and inner peace, not out of fragility, but because you're constructing something meaningful. Silence transitions into your natural setting, not awkwardly tense silence, not defensive silence, but a comfortable kind. It's the silence of someone who doesn't need to perform their existence. You can sit in a room in total quiet and still feel whole. This rarity places you in an elite category of psychological independence. Many people dread silence, feeling exposed and panicking in the absence of chatter. They overshare, make jokes, or seek validation. But you stay anchored. Others sense this, even if they can't articulate why. Your presence carries weight effortlessly. This is what Machiavelli meant by a power that doesn't demand attention. Announced power invites challenges. Embodied power discourages them. You also stop trying to impress people, understanding that the pursuit of impressing someone is a sign of self-doubt. You don't need to signal your worth. You simply assume it. This assumption shapes your posture, which in turn influences perception. Ultimately, perception shapes reality. You no longer chase respect or bother with wanting to be liked or controlling how things are seen. Instead, you live by your internal law, and others can sense that law, which is unspoken, stable, and unyielding. That's why they hesitate, tread carefully, and adjust. Not because you're dangerous, but simply because you're self-contained. Self-contained systems don't lead power. They don't plead, explain, or perform. They just function. That's the ultimate Machiavellian stance. If this video has shifted your perspective on silence, attention, reaction, and detachment, like it up and subscribe for more insights into ruthless psychology, dark philosophy, and mental mastery. And remember, the less you react, the more untouchable you become.